Woot, woot, yeehaw, and all the rest of it. Thank you very much, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of the Metaworld Week. No, yeah, Metaworld News. I still sometimes think it's Metaverse Week in Review, which is
Sure, sure.
long time ago. Yes, anyway, Metaworld News indeed, and today's the 8th of August, so what you're going to be hearing shortly is the highlights for the week ending the 8th of August. And it's a Sunday too, as if you need to be told that. And so whenever you watch it, it's always available in replay, even in 10 years' time. But I'm giving you the date so you just know how to look it up when you want it, so to speak. Hopefully, you're listening in the week we've recorded it. Right, my name is Mal Burns. Surprise, surprise. Mal, one word. Burns, the second word. But guess what? On the interwebs, and especially on Twitter, I get squashed. So to find my links, you have to follow me on Twitter. And you have to go to twitter.com/MALBURNS, or one word. Yes, yes. And for the purpose of the first 4 items I'm going to be covering in a minute, you can also go to our auxiliary feed. Yes, tongue twister that. Which is twitter.com/Metaworld News. Also, 2 words squashed together, named after this program, of course. So, what else is there? Well, I am joined here, as always, by James Atloud. And he's often wearing an Atloud t-shirt, but maybe not quite so much today. But welcome, James. I see you have at least changed.
Yeah, I have changed. I like the free clothing. So this is a sweatshirt I picked up today from a designer in Sansar named Zamira. So I'll just put up the name here, Zamira store. Just a nice sweatshirt with a fun button design. So, but nothing flashy, nothing loud. It really kind of depends on what's coming during the week and what's been free. So.
Yeah, what's available when you go looking. Yes.
Because I'm cheap.
Well, you are James Atloud. You just can't always be loud.
I just can't always be loud.
It's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, yep.
Well, maybe we'll just nickname you some weeks. We'll call you James at Quiet.
Okay. I don't have a website for that.
All right, James at Silent. That way you don't even have to. Never mind.
Back to the domain registrar. Here we go.
Yes, indeed. Back to the school, not like it actually.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I keep on slipping into this week. It's sort of always also exciting in the monkeyverse.
Yep.
Because I don't know what's going on. I have to say before I start that virtually every link of the week has got the word Metaverse in its door, and I've got a search reference, for feeds and stuff with the word Metaverse, but the stuff it coughs up now is getting out of order. But even the stuff I do want, if you see what I mean, it keeps using this damn word, and I'm just going to have to. I'm going to have to live with the fact that almost every headline I read now is utter bullshit. Even if the content is maybe a little bit better.
Right.
Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, a little secret here about James Atloud, and that is he's twiddling his knobs, or he's twiddling my knobs behind the scenes. Yes, he's switching from my desktop to my avatar, to my desktop to my avatar, maybe even a different avatar angle. I don't know what he gets up with because
I don't know.
You can see what he's doing. I haven't got a clue. I'm looking at my desktop while I'm talking. So credit to James there for the camera and cameras, plural. Unlike the Metaverse, the word camera can be pluralized. There, you know that. Okay, let's get on with it. I will ask James to show us our first screen now, which is up on the screen in World here. And on my desk, of course. And this one is all about Sansar here. Now, we did feature a review last week, actually, of the Splendor XR Music Festival. you know, they were full of a bit of criticism and praise and a mix and whatever. But it was a major Australian broadcasting company, I think, major Australian site. But this review of the same event actually comes from the UK, and it's at the Guardian. Which is TheGuardian.com. And they've written a review saying the virtual music festival was an eerie, empty reminder of what we've lost.
Oh.
Now that doesn't first sight that doesn't sound like a particularly good review, but remember what the eerie, empty reminder is talking about real life.
Yeah.
And so the virtual festival, they are saying, was a reminder of what we lost. What we've lost being the real life. Anyway, again, it's another review from a major media outlet, which is good for their PR and everything else. And, looking at the pros and cons and stuff like that. Okay, it was a noble goal, but one immediately drowned out by dissonance. Clearly meant as an alternative to the drudgery of pandemic life, but the internet is unfortunately the exact site of the anxiety that many are attempting to break free of. Anyway, they go on for a little review there. Oh, well, it's not a little review, it's quite a long review. More pictures of the audience, again. Shows really a fairly good chunk of people there. It reminds me of High Fidelity's festivals when they were a virtual world. So reasonable number of people there, and of course I think they can shard it if they had got too full. Noting that many of the bands introduced different styles of playing. Quick anecdote I was reading in the Post today was actually two. Basically, I was reading that Bruce Springsteen, Steed. No, Bruce Springsteen. Oh, my tongue-twisting days have arrived. Well, two things. One is that he's been in the lockdown period. I've seen the Street Band have actually been playing in studios, but a bit risky even while the COVID was on. But he's been working with the Killers.
Okay.
And another band too. But the Killers, of course, were the headliners at this festival we're looking at right now. And another plus point is his daughter, I think her name is Jessica Springsteen. She won a silver medal at the Olympics. What's the name for the horse riding thing where they're dressage, sort of thing. She's prancing around on a horse. So she got a silver medal for doing a horsey thing. So connections to Bruce Springsteen there all around.
Amazing.
Anyway,
wow.
Back on track. As you'll see, this is you'll find an interesting review of it all there. The link is on twitter.com/Metaworld News, but I'm sure if you go to theguardian.com front page, you'll probably find it too. It's it was early in the week, so it's probably safer following the click on my feed. Okay, also twitter.com/Metaworld News is the link for this. It's the post is at uploadvr.com, uploadvr.com, and it's simple. I think that Rec Room, another highly successful multi-user game, is on the Google Play Store, and it's already been on iOS, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC VR, and Oculus Quest, but it's now available on Android machines as well. I don't know whether there are any headsets powered by Android. I don't think there are, but presumably it's.
The Quest is Android, but it has its own store, right?
Oh, I see. Right, okay. So the version on Android can probably be, like some of the others, it can probably either be flat screen or headset, just like it is on PC. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's very good. I think I had a reason to. I'm just going to switch to the website. Go away. Prettier, of course. Yes, it's there's you can listen to this as a sort of podcast article as well as a summary of what it was all about. But I think we're better in the order to do that. Okay, moving on. Again, this is a post at producthunt.com, producthunt.com. And there were two of these things appeared during the week. When I tweeted this, I said, everything old is new again. Because, this looks like, what was the Lucasfilm one called? The earliest of Avatar sort of games. It's not even 2.5D. It's the old scrolling up and down thing. I guess they must have launched this. It's on Product Hunt this week, which gives it a lot of PR. It's a visual world-based social platform aiming to recreate in-person experiences online by allowing people to personalize an avatar and a room to make new connections, send postcards in the post office, and experience a virtual world. Well, we may be arguing about what the metaverse is, but I think very few people who've used the virtual world would consider something this primitive as a virtual world anymore. But then again, if you're 2 years old and just stumbled upon it, maybe. It's whole little thing there really makes it look like it's for kids a bit, doesn't it? So anyway, I thought we'd mention that. And then finally, we're back to Sansar here, and this is wonderful. It's things to do in Sansar thing, really. Welcome to Virtual Gardens, and the reviewer has basically gone around various links to take you to the gardens. Actually, I got that a wee bit wrong. So let me change to the website. Only one of these things is to Sansar, in fact. The others is the VR chat. But Atlas at Sansar.com experiences Tanjav 2058 Highlands template. So if you're looking up this, you actually get a thing there where you can click in. And there we are again. And yeah, basically, by clicking visit there, you will be able to launch the Sansar view and jump into it. Looks really nice. Basically. So that's why I need to go. Get back in. I keep clicking forwards. So anyway, so it's this view is not showing much actually, but it looks like a pretty nice place to visit. So Tanjav ART is the website I'm looking at here. TANGAV.ART. So the suffix is quite literally art. Okay, well, with that, I'm moving on to twitter.com/Malburns, my main feed where you can find all the links throughout the week. This is really just a selection of highlights. If you do go to that Twitter feed, you'll see probably double or 3 times as many actual links during the week, but can't cover them all here, talking you through them on a show like this. So we'll just do the usual ones and the best. Starting with undoubtedly a usual one. There's nothing much I need to say about this really. It is scaredghost.com, which is SKARREDGHOST.com. Regular here, of course. At the beginning of the week, Monday, in fact, August the 2nd, he posted this roundup of the week before. So basically, this is week peak, he calls it, of the extended reality world. And yeah, it's got some stuff about the Fastball Reality Lab and stuff, and can't get that company out of the tongue, can we? Yeah, there we are again. Smart glasses made with a Luxottica. Yes. Mention that. God Emperor Suki and a Luxottica glasses. They look okay, actually. I don't want to go into a rising fancy. Right, etc., etc. A lot of we would have covered last week, but there will be a few things that are off our radar that are on his. So go to starghost.com to look that one up. As I say, on Monday. We've got a couple of other links coming up shortly, which also go to that site too, which was posted more recently in the week. But meanwhile, just going to do a bit of housekeeping in my left-hand column here, so I know where I am. There we are, and we'll remove that too while I'm at it. And okay, WFT is the metaverse. I haven't heard of a platform called WFT actually, but apparently it's the metaverse. But then again, these days a lot of things are the metaverse. We've got Fortnite, we've got Roblox, we've got Horizon, you think? Or is that fastball? I don't know. Anyway, here's a new one called WFT.
Actually, Mel, WFT, I mean WTF is what the F word?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, okay, good. All right. You're leading us on. I see.
I'm just trying to be entertaining.
Okay. All right. I was worried there for a minute. I thought you were okay. Fair enough. Yep.
I'm not going to get any applause this week at this rate, am I? And actually, you laughed at it, so I thought, when you laughed at it, I thought he's got the joke at least. Never mind. Yep. Okay, so introducing a new platform called WTF, and according to Mark Zuckerberg, he says the metaverse is the next generation of the internet. But what is it? Who knows? Definitely, WTF stands to be a competing platform, so I don't really know. Anyway, that word again. What is it? Slightly critical. I was just reading about Mark Zuckerberg and this metaverse thing, and it has thrown me into an existential loop. What exactly does he want to do? Create the feeling that you're really there with another person or in another place. I think this has all gone down before. Somehow.
I think we're living it right now. Right.
Yeah, somewhat entertaining take on the state of affairs, as on apparently many of the links this week. Everybody's just got to have a go at talking about something called a metaverse that they don't understand, or worse still, pluralize. And well, I don't know where I'd be if the very thought of multiple metaverses is driving me up the wall, but just don't know what's going on. For this one, you want to go to uk.pcmag, in other words, pcmag.com, and yeah, well, that's what they've got to say about it. Not particularly much, but there again, that's in English. Fine. So they're sensible about these things. Right. Virtualperceptions.com. Yeah. Separating sense from nonsense regarding, you know what, discussions. Hereinafter known as the monkeyverse, I think, at least for today. I just can't bring myself to say the word anymore. It's like a treasured noun that has been stolen and mutilated, and it's just not the same anymore. It's morphed into a monkeyverse, is all I can say. Lots of monkeys fighting over it. However, virtualperceptions.com, virtualperceptions.com, and I forget the name of the chap. It's always the same chap who writes on this blog. Forget the name of his name offhand. It's probably at the bottom here. Twice weekly. No, he doesn't credit himself here. Anyway, hot takes from this week. Again, as soon as Zuckerberg's statement left his lip, the internet reeled under the weight of half-knowledgeable pundits that spewed visions on its future. Every immersive term and phrase fell under the planet-wide umbrella of the monkeyverse, prompting nonsense over sense as people scrambled for quick-fire internet points. As the week closed and millions of laptop lids shut for the weekend, many took a sigh of fresh air and wondered, now what?
Hmm.
Anyway, he believes the hype will wither to a cooler stance soon, like most of these things do. We're seeing the baying waves of discussions as people reel to and fro between discussions and formulate what the metaverse actually is. The key thing to remember is a lot of the hard work has already been done. It's already a wealth of information to learn about the topic. Everyone has come across Matthew Ball. Well, we have plugged him quite a bit, but and I highly recommend browsing this depository of articles. That's a link if you're obviously really, which I actually covered a week or two ago. So, but obviously you can get to the depository from here. And yeah, anyway, so he covers that. Interestingly, actually, I made a little plug here. I've just noticed at the bottom. There is he does a thing called the Immersive Wire, which is a twice weekly newsletter, which he will send you in the email. It's totally free. You get a digest on Wednesdays and a longer read on Sundays. And I quite often find links in that I haven't actually found in my general feed. So if you're into following this sort of stuff, you won't miss anything if you follow me and don't follow that. But it's well, you would actually sometimes. It's a good read. It's a good read, and of course, because it comes in email, you don't have to worry about reading an article and then your newsreader marks it as read and it disappears. Nah, no such thing. Good old-fashioned email. Right, so that's good. This article, again, I remind you, is at virtualperceptions.com. Virtual perceptions being all one word, as you might expect in the interwebs, really. Yeah. Okay, so we're on my first of the videos this week. We're on my channel Mastodon. It's mastodon.social/ at Metaworld, I believe. But it links to Twitter here, and most of them link to YouTube from there too. So you can watch them via my feed or click on the feed. I'm gonna click through to this one, mostly because I'm not quite sure where it came from, apart from YouTube. And
the new games have what's called Wonder Trade, where people are just mass producing like shiny, perfect IV Pokemon and just sending them out.
Okay, Alex VR is very familiar. He said we see him on quite a few other shows, but this is actually on one called VR News Roundup, and the subtitle, so to speak, is "Pay Attention, Metaverse Haters," and then with guests. The person who publishes this VR News Roundup is somebody called Eric for President. I don't know what he thinks he is. It's not. It's not a name you would think of when you're looking for a VR News Roundup. But and I don't see him on Twitter or anything like that. But if you go to YouTube and look up Eric space President, that's where you're better to find this, and obviously subscribe if you want to. If all you want to do is listen to it, then it's a lot easier. You just go to my embed, which is there, and you can play it from there basically. Right, moving on, because there's a lot to move on to. Another video. This is between James and me. I think this is our favourite long form video of the week, really. Would you not say, James?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is my favorite just because of the production value. I love the fact that they are actually in the VR world. They're conducting the show inside the VR world, and so I admire, especially Heaney, the designer of the studio and the technology. I enjoy the show, and the content is good too.
Yeah, yeah, I think it kind of needs to be. Yep. Yeah, it is. It's excellent. I can click on it briefly here. It's called the VR Download, and to actually find it, their account is actually Upload VR, which also goes with their magazine. They do a later in the week edition, which is now called VR Games Cast or something, so you won't confuse them. This is the early in the week when that would have come out on Monday, and it took a while for him.
Okay, so, gentlemen, I believe that I am ready. We have to get to a more somber note here as we talk about our first topic. Dear friends, we are gathered here today to celebrate the life and the untimely death of a true friend to the industry, PCVR. or are we?
Mhm.
Well, I think you get the idea there. They're asking whether PCVR is dead, and really, I think what PCVR they're referring to, even if it's in a headset, if it's tethered, you know, I personally don't think so. I think as these things evolve, we'll be looking for a portal, whether we go in a text client or a virtual world on the screen, or move into a tethered headset, or then move out into an untethered headset. I think all those are different avenues of approach. You could hopefully you would jump into a quote metaverse at any point using any method. Obviously, the more immersive and elaborate the portal you jump in, the more rich the experience. But nevertheless,
Say, Mel, I'd like to point something out. If you go back to the video, and if you hover your mouse on the timeline for
yeah,
YouTube playback, are
yeah,
you seeing they indicate chapters in the program?
oh yeah,
And so it's interesting, and I suspect you're going to have a news story about their last discussion at the end of the show, which was about the pass-through VR. And
oh yeah.
I suspect you'll have a news article about that because it's quite
I did.
interesting.
Right, I did have something in there. I'm going to move to it then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a lot of shows do this chapter thing now, which is
Sold
fine.
more copies than the traditional trailer version of the game.
Oh.
And so what you've got there is some of the first. They say, I've got these quotes taken from this blog post, very clearly saying this is very far from being a consumer product. This is very likely never going to be something we're going to see in a standalone form factor.
Right.
They say, I've got these quotes taken from this blog post, very clearly saying this is very far from being a consumer product. This is
the post. I don't think I do have it actually.
Okay.
At least not on. It was on my Twitter feed somewhere for sure, but I don't think I've pulled it into today's highlights. It is. It was a press release from the Oculus people. Which of course is a subsidiary of the God Emperor's domain. Much talk has been thereof. The idea here really is it inverts, I guess, the technology of the graphics thing. Actually, you probably can remember more about what they said and what this thing said than I can, James. But the headset looks at you as opposed to you looking through the headset. I think is the gist of it, isn't it?
I think if I were to guess that the idea is that people could be in VR, but then also see the face of the person who's demonstrating something. It's it was an interesting topic, but for me, it's kind of on the level of smell-o-vision, and I don't see a huge use for it. But interesting research work that's going on with that concept.
Yeah, I actually got the impression it might be an alternative to the present system, and would potentially, if it panned out, improve the Oculus or whatever the name of the headset product they end up with is. But then again, Apple actually has a patent on the inside out thing, where a screen will detect the movement of your eyes to alter its position. So imagine you're looking at an iPhone, and you've got your front camera on. Then it can detect from the movement of your eyes whether you want to look left or right on, say, something that scrolls up and down, left and right. I haven't got products as far as I know, but they have got a patent on that. And it's not too far-fetched to imagine that something similar could be rigged up in a headset, which is basically a screen in front of your face at the end of the day. So interesting stuff. And the other thing is, I say I can't get rid of first the phrase the metaverse being in every blog under the sun a week long, but also endless references to the God Emperor's empire, you know, and it's almost as if, well, let's face it, the fastball are issuing research, issuing statements or whatever, just like the declaration of the metaverse itself. A lot of people are saying they are non-stop, you know, throwing this information at us. And it seems to be promoting their company rather than any kind of open metaverse. But more to the point, a lot of people feel it's like a liar who's told a fib and can't stand to be asked any more questions in case he gets caught out. So what he does is he talks endlessly to cover up what he's actually doing, right? And a lot of people seem to think that the fastball may be up to this kind of trick, you know, sort of, well, flood them with information about the glorious future that may or may not happen. And maybe they won't look at all the court cases we're involved in and all the laws we're breaking and everything else. Yeah, swings and roundabouts there, I think. I'll leave you folks at home to decide the merits of that kind of suggestion, should I put it. Okay. I'm going to move on before we get into trouble. So that was a VR download for this week. Moving on, we're on a webpage now. This is a site called Sentiers Media. SENTIERS.media. So the suffix is media, MEDIA. And reality ownership scarcity. I wonder where this was coming from at first, but we get down to paragraph 3, and then guess what? In the highlight link, what do you thingy? It ticks both these boxes, right? So as far as this is interesting. He quotes another article he wrote called "Synthetic Reality in the Metaverse," which was behind a paywall, but it's now free. I gather, yeah. In my reader, of course, it looks pretty much the same, but this is actually a different article, a companion article, if you like, that you'll be able to read going in there. I'm going to go back because I'm concentrate on the link I've actually posted as opposed to the other one. Oh, it's got a picture. That took a while to load. Okay, yeah, Unreal Engine there, I see. Okay, the Metaverse is a collective shared space created by the convergence of virtually enhanced physical reality and physically persistent virtual space, including the sum of all virtual worlds, augmented reality, and the internet. The word Metaverse is a portmanteau of the prefix meta, meaning beyond, and universe, which we know, I guess. The term is usually used to describe the concept of a future iteration of the internet made up of persistent shared 3D virtual spaces linked to a perceived virtual universe. And then he goes into the economics concept of scarcity and looks at DRMs and the new non-fungible trinkets and all that stuff. And ownership and, well, let's see. The second axis concerns who owns the metaverse itself. It could go a few ways, and already people, brackets companies, are using the same world for vastly different interpretations and plans as to who owns what. Even the God Emperor wants to build it, it says in brackets, right? Lot to read here. Good read. I can't, I'll be here all day reading it to you or trying to summarize it as I do. But very interesting. Sort of look at what it says in the title: reality, ownership, and scarcity. And of course, scarcity. Well, their actual ownership and scarcity are all hand in hand with any economic model that virtual platforms may choose to use. Reality, well, that's a different ballgame, really. We've got virtual worlds, we've got mirror worlds, we've got augmented worlds. You name it, we got it. Anyway, find this at Sentiers Media, SENTIERS Sorry, dot media. And moving on. Right, now this is an odyssey. This is not the latest podcast from Charlie Fisk and Co. It's the one that should have been on our show last week, but for some reason it didn't get posted until I think it was Tuesday. So we've got a new one since then, but we've got the one that we would have heard last week, as it were, here first. So they had a guest, Roni Aberfitz, and he is, I'm going to click through because I think he's the CEO of Magic Leap. And if he is, this is one of the best ones I've heard from this program yet. Just going to flick ahead a bit. And yeah, this guy really knows his stuff.
This is a evolution of just hundreds of billions, even trillions of dollars of investment in infrastructure that create capability to have our digital world mimic the physical world we're in. In fact, none of that should be surprising. What it really is a digital copy in ever increasingly good, but also weird ways of our universe. That's really what it's. It's a digital universe, and we're coming closer and closer to approximating it and building our own worlds. That's how I think of this.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's a half an hour episode, which actually isn't that long. Having listened to it, I could have sworn it was about an hour and a half. The guy from Ronnie Abowitz, or Abowitz, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, is basically the person in charge of Magic Leap. And it surprised me listening to him that, we've known about Magic Leap, since it was announced and not talked about, and so it became an expensive, pair of glasses, and then refocused the enterprise, and now they're, the hardware and the developer of the company is, interesting. It's had a lot of money thrown at it. It's been going on for a long time, but independent of all that, this guy himself, his vision, and he certainly knows what he's talking about. So I was most impressed by that. If we had time to run a whole television station here on YouTube, I would play back that half hour for you in its entirety. But for the moment, you need to look at that. You can get it from my Twitter feed or at Mastodon Social / at Metaworld. And This Week in XR at YouTube itself is simply called This Week in XR, and it's a weekly. Weekly, come a bit half weekly and a bit 10 daisy sort of program. But anyway, that was one that it's dated August the 3rd, which means it presumably got posted on Tuesday, even though it's supposed to be the one from the weekend. Anyway, moving on from that, a company called Metapunk Co. UK, they're in the UK here, metapunk.co.uk. This chap, Theo Priestley, it's basically his website, it's been around a while. He seems to be posting quite a bit on Twitter recently, getting into the... I don't know, what's the word? The debate. The current debate. We haven't even got started, and I'm already thinking of end goal scenarios for the Monkeyverse. But why not? After all, I am a futurist. To potentially inevitable conclusions, we are given the choice to either physically die or live on within the Metaverse, or two, a world's first artificial general intelligence is born from the Metaverse. Heaven is a place on Earth. Well, yeah. Two inevitable conclusions, but he actually goes on about a whole load of other stuff. So maybe that was just to grab a headline. Pretty technical kind of article. It's obviously quite a techie, this chap, but getting it's almost as though a lot of people have been looking in the background of virtual worlds, sort of immersive spaces, and anything else that we might sort of visualize as being part of an eventual metaverse, has suddenly woken up because of the current, debates and sort of getting their ending, as the phrase I use. So anyway, this one particular one is, and there's been a few other posts during the week from the same site. So Metapunk.co.uk, METAPUNK.co.uk. And moving on to a return to the scarred ghost. I wonder if we got a howling noise for this one. There he is, good old James, hand on button.
Yeah, sort of.
It's a howling at the scarred ghost. It is indeed.
Yeah.
Right. This got retweeted all over the place. I think yesterday Charlie Fisk did a thing on this too. Victory XR's Cadaver Lab shows why VR matters in medical education. So whether you're interested in looking at corpses or cutting them up in VR, I don't know. But this lab was developed for Fisk University, and in fact they're as it implies in the title, this particular thing shows why VR matters in medical education over and beyond Candavars, if you see what I mean. So, the medical front here. VR and virtual worlds have been used extensively in medical fields for quite a while, and obviously with the headset generation coming along, in the enterprise at least, and it's opening up a lot of opportunities there. So find this at scarredghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com. The same site we have the weekly roundup on Mondays from. And moving on, another video, it would seem. And, oh, cool, I can't remember. Things are coming to VR and they will be big. They will be big. Featuring Sad Liz. Oh, yeah.
Actually, I did just learn. We're good. We're starting. But I did learn something from Avi, man.
I started messing with Brad Chan and stuff.
Right. Well, actually, I won't really go. Acquired taste is really. That guy is really young. His name is sadly it's Bradley, but very interesting things in that conversation. I suppose it's got the gamer feel to it. This guy's clearly a gamer, and the kid obviously is too. But they're talking. They actually are talking about virtual worlds. In fact, I better get the.
Brad Kuhn on VR chat. What made you choose that? I gotta ask that avatar. Like when you first were all in on it, I'm like, okay, that's Brad's using that avatar. Dude, that avatar is you now.
Okay, it's another episode of Eric for President. It's the same channel. It's a different program, if you see what I mean. I've got a feeling this guy just does a lot of stuff. Yeah, sadly it's Bradley, the guest here, has his own YouTube channel, and basically he's being interviewed about his thoughts and his own channel. So yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. It's quite interesting, which is why I plunked it in here actually. Okay, moving again, another video. WebXR, what you can do today and what's coming tomorrow by Ada Rose Cannon. You'll find her on Twitter and all over the place writing stuff. She actually works for Samsung Internet. But it's almost like she's got a brief to just talk about what the hell she wants, wherever she wants. She's always popping up with stuff. It's a bit like, Kathy Hackle, for example. I think it technically works for Hewlett Packard, but she's just always talking about, the vision thing quite a lot. I'm going to click through to this just so we can be sure where to get it.
Hello, my name's Ada Rose Cannon. I'm a developer advocate for the web browser Samsung Internet. I'm also co-chair of the W3C Immersive Web Groups. These are the groups that are developing the WebXR APIs to let you work with immersive technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality. This talk is about WebXR, with a focus on what you can build today.
Oops.
Hello.
So much for a pause button, eh? Right. Now we've got the subtitles, but never mind. Okay, it's W3C, Web3 Consortium. actually is the account. You want to get it. This is actually a recording of a presentation she did in July with the W3C Chinese intergroup, basically. And what she's talking about there are immersive web standards. So we're talking about, you have hubs, for example, and there's loads of them, I can't even remember half the names, but basically virtual worlds that you can interface with by simply getting them to load into a web page for you. Some of them, like Sansar here, can be viewed on the web with slightly less facilities in the browser, or you can download a client to do it for you. Same with Sciencebase, although it tends to be their branded version called Breakroom that they use most on the web. So it's a great thing. There's even a version of, well, it's not a version of OpenSim at all, but it's clearly inspired by OpenSim, and that's available on the web. So a lot of people think if they can build something that works on the web, that is the place to be, because people will, like things they can just click through. Maybe all this stuff about, when all this talk about the monkeyverse and everything, it's, some people just think maybe it's they keep referencing the internet and think it's like a subtotal of all the worlds you better get onto the internet and jump between. But of course, we're dealing with external clients, and the only thing that has bothered me in this debate is the people have actually said, and I think I've quoted it here in some articles we looked at, is that the hypothetical metaverse will be a successor to the internet. And I don't think that is quite right, because however it pans out and whoever does it, right, it would certainly be, I think, more likely to be a successor to the World Wide Web. And likely the World Wide Web will be a component inside of a metaverse. But I think a metaverse is always going to run on the internet. It's not going to be a successor to the internet. Otherwise, we'd have to build something completely different to house it. It's bad enough we haven't even got common protocols at the moment, but at least they all use internet protocols, even if they don't use web protocols. So how can we have a metaverse if we put the internet in the bin? We can't. So, there's an example of some people firing off without actually thinking about what they're saying. In my opinion, maybe there's a secret new metaverse internet thing that we don't know about that will just cost a fortune and be sold to as a replacement for...
Maybe Starlink, maybe Elon Musk's Starlink will replace it all.
Yeah. But even that's just a pipe. It's
for now.
Pipe.
For now.
Well, yeah, arguably, but even let's say AOL had ruled the day back in the day, and they thought they would. It was still a portal that was on the internet. It didn't use the World Wide Web, oddly enough, for very much at all. It was a portal built to be on the internet. A lot of kids, there's a classic case of kids who are on Facebook and, say, they'll say to you, "Oh, I don't use the internet." And, say, well, what the fuck do you think Facebook is, Because Facebook bypasses the World Wide Web, if they can, by sending you in their own browser to all the pages you click on. It's like iframes, you think you're looking at a web page following a link, but you're actually seeing a Facebook blank page with that web page superimposed inside it. If you try making links and posting stuff, you'll soon find this out. But it's it's an entrapment kind of device, really. But whatever, or everything that's online relies on the internet. Email is on the internet. Chat rooms are on the internet. The World Wide Web itself is actually less than 50% of the internet. The dark web, of course, is on the internet. The internet is a much, you can't type in an internet address very easily. It's a vast labyrinth of data. But the World Wide Web, of course, over the years, we know how to type in a web address, so we can get to pages that are on the web easily enough. And with the right clients, we can get to chat rooms and forums and things like that quite easily. And of course, communication programs, whether it's Zoom type video or Skype type audio, or also virtual worlds. You know, if you go to SoundStar on the web, you get a limited functionality, but you can get to it on a web page. But if you actually download a fully fledged client, which offers you more facility, then you get to it on the internet. It's not as though the client gets there in thin air. It's still resting on the internet. It's not on a web page. It's not on the web, full stop, but it is still a server on all servers based on the grand internet that keeps the whole world tied together. Anyway, rabbit hole over, I hope. I knew there would be one. That wasn't deliberate, but it just inevitably was one, wasn't there? Anyway, so W3C is where to go there for that particular thing. And okay, there was this one I think has been recorded since I actually went to get it. Yeah, this is the Universal. So this is the recording.
Welcome everyone to this most amazing universal experience. Today we are.
Okay, right. This is an hour long. It's called The Wellness, First Breaking the Barrier to Wellness in VR. It is wellness, basically, in VR. It's published on the Educators in VR site at Google. As you can see there. Now, when I went to this it was posted before it was recorded, if you see what I mean. So I couldn't get it earlier, but it's obviously finished now. Yeah, if you're interested in wellness and that kind of stuff, and being in social VR, talking about it, doing it, etc. This will certainly be of interest. I'm going to bookmark it so I can get it again. The reason I mentioned this is that it is not yet in my feeds, and I can't. There's no quick thing I can click here to put it in my feed, so I will have to come back to this later to make sure it gets indexed in my feeds. But I'm glad I saw that one because it's. It actually showed up.
My name's Ada Rose Cannon.
Right.
I'm a developer advocate for the web browser Samsung Internet. I'm also co-chair of the W3C Immersive Web.
Oh no, that's her again. Right, okay, at least I know where I am. Moving on. Right, this is EuropeanGaming.eu, exploring the metaverse and AI's role in it. Well, this is a lot more specific, even though they've actually, used the dreaded word. The metaverse is a challenging thing to define, partly because it's such an abstract concept and also because no one's created one yet. When they say that, it implies that they think it can be pluralized, so I don't really approve. But the exact scope of what we're talking about is a bit blurry. I do concede that. To define the metaverse, it makes sense to look at fiction, where the term was originally coined. A digital online universe perceived from a first-person perspective that exists independently of whether you are logged into it or not. This is a persistent place you can access, change, leave, and return to. Interesting that there's nothing really about a potential universe I've seen in a schematic or anything yet that can exist without you logging in. Presumably you have to log in to some kind of point of presence on the internet to get to wherever you want to go to. You can't just snap your fingers and have holograms conjured out of thin air. Unless there's projectors in orbit around the planet, you can project holograms down into our real space. You would have to log in somewhere, I think, for the foreseeable future if you want to use any kind of real-time virtual space, basically. Anyway, something we've already arrived at, I think we could be far grander in scale. Yeah, I mean, we've arrived in a microscopic way, but it will be a lot grander. They mention Second Life as an early example that partly fits the bill, for example, also EVE Online. And even the MUDs of the 1970s can be considered proto-metaverses without graphics. Another meaty read, shall we say, by somebody called George Miller. You can find this at European Gaming EU. So that's EUROPENGAMING.EU. Right. So, moving on. Oh dear, it's the same old thingy again. It's the God Emperors quoted. Yes. But Wired magazine, or at least the UK edition of Wired, definitely has an opinion on this. They say that the God Emperor Zuki's metaverse already sucks. Yes, it's not even here yet. But the Facebook ambitions alone reveal an alarming lack of imagination and a less alarming love of tech buzzwords. My name is Mark, and I like buzzwords. And I've got a buzzword that I didn't invent, but I'm using. Yes. The Zuckerverse is coming. Oh dear. Everybody's got to write a story. I mean, but different angles on it, and I'm pleased to say that most of the industry does not really seem to approve of the God Emperor's aspirations at all. Fashioning an entirely new economy remains the most revolutionary promise, and it might be a boon for creators, content producers, and developers, according to the God Emperor. But his general keynote, his infinite office spiel, is a red flag, one that looks alarmingly like productivity software kitted out with VR glitter. If that were to prevail, the real threat to the metaverse will not come from the overbearing Zuckerverse, but from Zuckerberg's lame Suckerverse. Oh dear, bit of a tongue twister there, but well worth quoting, I think. A nice little paragraph there, I think. In fact, I don't know what Safari here allows me to do, but where can I keep that? Where can I keep that quote? He says to me. Notes will do, I think. Yeah. Don't know where the hell Notes is, but I'm not used to using this browser, but at least I save the quote. I'll find it when I need it, no doubt. Okay. There we are. Right, moving on. Okay, visit page. This is CNET. We don't get many posts to CNET. I mean, I used to be able to CNET almost every day. I used to download music and everything from there back in the days when things were less conscripted. Everybody's building the metaverse, but would you really want to live there? This is interesting. VR is not the metaverse, so what is it? And again, I mean, by the end of this week, if you follow all my links, you will be very familiar with Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash. You will be your own expert on what it isn't, and possibly what it could be. You will probably be in no doubt that there is no is involved and there is no plural involved. Those are the two lessons you will learn if you read up on this stuff, as a rule. And meanwhile, Microsoft is searching for the enterprise metaverse. But surely that will be part of the big entire thing. No, I don't know. Anyway, talking about science fiction getting appropriated and how the world's already living virtually. Zoom, Clubhouse, Twitter, Spaces, and every other social app on your phone is just virtual existence of some sort. And then they did a new wave of Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, Rec Room VR Chat, and Adult Space VR. It's funny, the ones that get all the mileage in these articles are the ones that are actually owned by huge corporations. even though, you know, things like Second Life, Science Space and stuff have been around much longer. They're more developed, they're more established, but they, you know, whoever wrote this article's probably never even heard of them. The only things he's heard of are the press releases from the big corporations, which of course are their products. Virtual jellyfish. Oh, that's that's one of the Microsoft products there. Quite a lot to read there anyway. Oh, and they've mentioned the Apple Epic Court Battle. Of course, Apple, for those of you who haven't been following these things, there was a court case where somebody was, I think it was to do with iPhone technology dating back about 12 years, and Apple were being sued in court for breaching somebody's trademark. And Apple won. Apparently, not people weren't actually sure they would, but apparently Apple won because the judge threw it out on the basis that she totally opposed the activities of a patent. What's the name? A patent shark. Can't remember.
Trolling?
These people
patent troll.
Yeah, exactly. She said that she had her way patent trolling would be the thing that was illegal. She really was not impressed by the fact that somebody had got a patent and was trying to make a lot of money out of an established company that had done something about it. I don't really think she was. It didn't sound like she was even ruling on the issue of the patent. She was ruling against the objection she had was to the person who was the plaintiff. So I thought that more court cases then like that. It didn't matter that it was Apple that won. It could have been anybody. I just like the idea that the judge said to, you know, a patent troll, F off. No, you have no, you know, no argument to rest on here. Anyway, sorry, back to this. So this is this little article is at cnet.com, CNET.com. And moving on to This Week in XR. Here we are. This is the Forbes version. This Week in XR with Charlie Fink. Now, this, of course, was published, I'm not sure when it was published, a couple of days ago, I guess, usually just before the weekend. Again, it's a roundup from the week. Brain Tech nabs 50 million 3D without glasses and more on metaverses. Around up here. This is I'm just going to read. You can probably see it on screen, but this is worth only. People are not talking about the future metaverse or metaverses. Are not done talking, about the future metaverse or metaverses. Since it's only theoretical, some folks are having trouble understanding it. Among them, CNBC's Jim Cramer. In an unhinged rant worthy of Rudy Giuliani, Cramer explained the metaverse is made by Unity before correcting himself and crediting NVIDIA instead. Co-host Rick Sutter had to sell Cramer a life preserver by reading Zuck's now famous definition, but Cramer was on a roll declaring Zuck didn't explain enough. Cramer blabbered incoherently about personalization and e-commerce for another 5 minutes until Santelli was finally able to steer the conversation to self-driving cars. If you really want to understand this putative metaverse, listen to there's a link to the audio conversation. Sorry, actually, no, the links to that interview are only Abelwitz, but I think they mentioned this in that video. Yeah, so various roundup of various things that caught Charlie Fink's eyes, really, during the week. On there, and you'll find this one at Forbes.com. Where else? FORBES.com. Right now, there was a tweet finally from Kent Bai, who of course is Voices of VR, during the week, saying that the reason you haven't seen podcast number 1000 yet was because it's sort of retrospective, and he's still working on it. Now, I suppose if you want to pick the highlights of 1,000 episodes and edit them into something cohesive, that is probably not going to take the sort of short time that is not most of his podcasts do, exhaustive though they are. So I don't know where. I mean, the obvious thing to do would be to skip to show 1001 and then carry on until he's finished the 1000th edition, and then sort of plonk it into the continuity backwards. But you know, we're all missing actual episodes whilst he's taking time off to make the 1000th one. But anyway, that is the case. So the reason I said that is because we do have a link here. Where am I here? Oh yeah, the VR VRARA Association, basically THEVRARA.com. Kenbai joined Tyler and Sophia in an exploration of how spatial technology equips humans with the tools of. Right, have I think I've. Yes. Okay. This is a podcast called Everything AR and VR, and it's featuring Kenpai. It didn't show up in the reader just now, so you actually need to go to the Vara.com website to find this. Just follow the link from my Twitter feed. They call him the insatiably curious Kenpai. I know, but. So you can hear him talking there. I remind you that actually that if you click back on this channel, the Metaverse channel at YouTube, click back until early in the year. Of course, I recorded an interview with him too as part of the Open Sim Community Convention. Not earlier in the year, the end of last year, in fact. Bit of a way back now, but I enjoyed that one too, so you might care to look at that. But meanwhile, this one is at THEVRARA.com, or via my link. All right, moving down. Oops. Oh, right. Now, okay, this is an oddity, right? When I tweeted this, I actually I forget what I said. I think I just said an interesting read. This is not what you will normally get from me. It's about a film, but it's also a bit of an essay too. I've never seen this film. I've been trying to check it out. I found a link via Telegram to watch it on the web, but I don't think it's an official copy, but released of it. I hope I'll be able to find it anyway. It's a movie called The Congress, and it stars Robin Wright, who actually I do like. But she stars in it as a fictionalized version of herself, and I haven't seen this, so I'm having to go by what's written here. She is the wrong side of 40 with the prospect of her career winding down, and she's given the opportunity to sell a digital avatar of herself to Miramont Studios, a fictional combination of Miramax and Paramount, if you didn't already guess, so that they can insert her preserved digital self into all manner of film productions and commercials using a deepfake style technology. Wright will never need to work again. Her digital avatar will pick up the slack while she can live her life away from the spotlight on the massive payout that Miramont will give her. Perhaps audiences didn't take the promise of losing oneself to the fantastical as something concerning 2013, but these days the Congress is perhaps more relevant and timely than it was at the time. Despite its rather massive narrative structure, it's the perfect film to understand the post-truth, post-Trump era we seem to find ourselves in. Societies have become deeply fragmented and divided into squabbling sub-realms of hard right, hard left, and inept centrists. Whilst the most important thing now is the promotion of the individual and what the individual desires, society be damned. Even though the film was released in the social media era, the Congress seemed to know where we're heading and where we might still be heading, and it's a dark place. So this is about the film, but they don't, clearly because of the subject of the film, the article actually it uses the film as a base, but it moves it into, some editorial thoughts here about the way things are. As far as I know, there's no actress that's actually sold their complete likeness or presence to be an avatar yet. Although, of course, there's been a lot of fuss. Well, there's been two things. Firstly, the way Lucasfilm, or Disney as they are now, employed somebody recently who made a deep fake of their own deep fake. Basically, the Mandalorian, which featured the early actor Mark Hamill. He's still around as an old man, but they wanted the early self. They created a digital fake of him and put him in a scene at the end of The Mandalorian. The chap that they've now hired took that and wiped out all the faults because people were saying, "Oh, it's the uncanny thing. It's not right," you know. He made it totally convincing. So, I mean, it's becoming more and more possible that, maybe you could be hired when you're 20 years old and film for like a week with different actions, different poses, etc., against a green screen, probably wearing a green leotard because, the end result will be putting you in lots of different costumes as well as in lots of background. You could have kind of an immortal presence that's, they just film enough of you, as an avatar on a green screen that they can they can hire your digital persona to appear in the film for evermore, so to speak. And we've also, of course, got the issue of the lady who plays Black Widow in the Marvel movie, who I think we mentioned this last week, is actually taking Marvel or whoever the parent company is to court because they released the film for streaming on the same day it was meant to be in the box office. So her money is made out of box office returns in the early weeks. But the fact it didn't appear in the box office, and it did at the same time as it was streaming, meant that it had a huge impact on her income. She clearly wouldn't have signed a contract to make the film if she'd known that she was going to be denied box office returns on the basis it was streaming at the same time. So, all this stuff with films, but I just think this is a great thing to read. When reality is damaged beyond repair or simply disappears forever, so will the fantasy. If nothing else, that should probably be the biggest lesson we take from the Congress. Lots of lessons about the real world, and I've really got to find this movie. I've still got a few places to look. Just see if I can find it down there. But we'll go. But fascinating stuff anyway. So the website here though is a bit odd. It's called 20yearslatersite.com. 25 years later.site.com, and the 25 is numerals. So you've got 25. And then yearslatersite.com. Rather odd website name too. But anyway, I don't even know how I stumbled across that, but it's an intriguing article, I thought, when I read it. Okay, moving on. Third Eye X2MR. This is the Scar Ghost yet again. SKARREDGHOST.com. Woohoo! Howling. See, I beat the wolf to it. Okay, Third Eye XMR, lightweight MR glasses for the industry. Close to what I might like. There's this, they call it a headset, but I think it certainly looks closer to glasses. It's for the industrial segment, they say, which presumably means it will be too expensive for consumers as a rule. They're described as MR glasses, proving very effective in many industrial fields, but the brand is still not very famous in the XR communities. They had Scar Ghost, of course, had a talk with Nick Cherukuri, is the CEO of Third Eye, to actually sort of talk about them. Now, the thing I find interesting about these is they're not AR glasses. They're not VR glasses. They're described as MR glasses, which of course is mixed reality. I suspect they're closer to being AR than VR, but it's the specifications are a little. I mean, they're fairly unique, but they only weigh 310 grams, and they run on Android. I think the processing is all done inside the glasses themselves, but they look they look heavier than a pair of glasses, but they don't look as heavy as a helmet job. Apparently, U.S. military and industrial companies make the most use of their solution at the moment, so they pay careful attention to what was needed for outdoor use. And optics of 500 nits brightness, one of the highest brightness in the market, and blah, blah, blah. This goes on a while. You might expect from Scar Ghost. All these articles are long, and all these interviews carry on for quite a bit too. So, but interesting, and I like the look of the product as well. So the interview with the CEO is just interesting, sort of companion piece too, as it were. That was August the 6th. Scarred Ghost, SKARREDGHOST.com. I can say it fast these days. Done it often enough. August the 6th, of course, was just a couple of days ago, Friday, I guess. So, Friday, yeah, Friday. So most recent one there. Moving on down. Another post from this Metapunk Co UK. And I think I found the other link earlier in the week and probably subscribed to them, so that I got maybe I wasn't. Who owns the gateway to the metaverse? Well, Theo Priestley again on Friday has his thing about this. Everybody's still, it's unavoidable. If I was writing this article, I'd probably have to use the word metaverse too, simply because it's not clearly defined, but it's the closest thing to something that one can, mention in this context. Without fanfare, in 1991, Tim Berners-Lee published the first ever website, and fitting that he's writing this on the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web. In those days, it was different information, different computers. You had to log onto different computers to get at it. Also, sometimes you had to learn a different program on each computer. Guess what that sounds like? Yep, today's virtual world, all over the fucking place, pardon my language. This is exactly where we are with conversations about the metaverse right now. Everybody's rushing to build their own version separately, and where we'll be in 5 years' time is exactly where we are not 30 years later with the web. So anyway, his discussion here is interesting. Who owns that portal? Yeah. Now, I'm not going to go into this. I'm actually wondering whether to do a sort of tutorial on this, but just briefly. I seem to have lost my sensor. Let's see what we're doing here. No, I haven't got it open anyway, so never mind. I won't put it on screen. This is really what it's all about. What? Not so much what will the metaverse be, but what will be the portal to it, or how many different portals will there be to get into the same place, the same collection of spaces, the same collection of information, the same everything is everything kind of thing. But you don't know. You probably need one portal on a phone. You'll need another portal in a headset. You'll need another portal on a desktop screen. Or maybe you'll have a table with holograms on it by that time. You'll need a portal to get into the table. Who's going to be the first to build, etc., etc., etc. The main problem with Lord Zuckerberg's metaverse concept is how heavily he's leaning into the necessity of AR and VR, which excludes the vast majority and just caters for the tech bros again. It's understandable he wants to push his vision because the money he's invested in Oculus. He quotes Doug Thompson, who of course we know is his own writer, well some of us do, in his blog too, etc., etc. So, well, what can I say? This is just another piece of good old reading. You know, I said at the beginning, almost every link this week has got the word metaverse in the title, but conversely, almost all of these articles this week are actually highly critical of the state of affairs as it is, or the state of affairs, the way people are interpreting it, etc., etc. Yeah. One, I'm not going to go into the other thing about Berners-Lee for now. So, so this is a Metapunk UK, metapunk.co.uk. Right, moving on, and we're on another video. Looky he. Right, the first hybrid VR and real life comedy show failed to render. Now, the title of the show was "Failed to Render." Not the result when you try to watch it. Well, you know, it's the sign of a good title that it caused an element of confusion. People on Twitter thought it meant that this show didn't start or something. It's a hybrid VR and real life comedy show. I'm going to go straight through to YouTube on this one so I can find where to send it. Oh! But this is, as it happens, a site that we've been... I think it was about a month or 2 months ago that we had the last of the current season of Between Realities. This is the first of a new season. But it's basically they attended the first hybrid virtual reality comedy show presented by Failed to Render Comedy at a hybrid event space called Starbase in Los Angeles. They're sort of talking about a real thing here. And oh God, yes, they've got more than enough links here. Okay. Right. Okay, I think it's in the show itself then. But basically, they did. I thought there was some text somewhere, but I think it's in the show itself. They did explain.
Okay, the jig is up. Let me just beg her for like a bath to sleep in or something.
Ooh, what's going on? Oh, freak. Okay, they did explain that the new season is going to be a bit different.
What's up, Alex? Good to see you, man. Oh my God, this is so fun. It's good to see you in real life. This is the first time that I get to actually see you physically. Like it's beautiful, isn't it? VR. It's amazing. It's like I know. It's fantastic. VR body does no justice whatsoever. This is the body of a god right there. By the way, it's right out there staring at us. This is the peak physical form. You may not like it, but it's...
Okay, what they did, they basically warn you. I forget exactly where they did it, text or in part of the show. It's only a short show, this one. It's 9 minutes. They're reformatting the show a bit to include more real life, and, you know, combination VR and RL stuff and whatever. This is fairly obvious. They just went to a comedy show in real life that actually uses VR as a component in it and did a quick review. Well, it's not even a review, really. It's too short, but the interview with the people involved. It'd be interesting to see where they go next with this new series and that new brief, so to speak. Are you lot all going to write in to say that you want the real world me instead of my avatar with the news? I mean, to me, the move from virtual to real is almost retrogressive, but I mean, it depends on how you view it, really, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, so you'd actually know this link before I even came here. I'd forgotten it was Between Realities, 2 words there, Between Space Realities, the YouTube account, of course. And you can subscribe or just go there to kind of watch it. Right. Oh, this is awkward. I'm forgetting to delete my things after I read them. Oh, here, the world's first hybrid. There we are. Okay. Remove item. Okay. next up we have road to VR.com. Sorry, I need to remove the items I've already done, or I'm going to lose my place. I've got rid of a few of them anyway. Okay, this is a post about Valve, who do their Steam Deck hardware. This is their Steam Deck. It's well, they've been asked questions about whether Steam Deck could actually work in a standalone VR headset, for example. In other words, where that could be ported into a headset format, and various power stuff. Oh, sorry, these are other articles. Right, we're actually, this is Ben Lang at Road to VR, so this is just a headline article in the whole list here. They did a hands-on with the Steam Deck, and Valve's Vision is a portable gaming device built with PC hardware. Now, it's safe to say that anything that can handle decent gaming software and is portable will almost certainly be able to handle standard virtual worlds or elementary VR type stuff. Maybe not the headset stuff, but for example, if you could get into, you could run, say, something maybe like Second Life or World of Warcraft. Wow. I don't know, on a device like that. So I've never actually bought something that compact or ever really wanted to. I mean, the closest I get to is a phone, and the iPad, the bigger the better for me, really. But anyway, a little bit of conversation there from Valve. And they were basically showing off a lot of stuff in a hands-on event. And the company didn't confirm anything outright, but they said the Steam Deck hardware could certainly be a good match for a standalone VR headset. So, yeah, a bit more than speculation, as it were. Right, moving on. Oh, this is fun. L'Oreal. I'm over here in England. I mean, if you ever have a independent television on for more than a few minutes, you'll get adverts. And more often than not, in the advert break, it might only last 2 minutes, but there'll be an ad for L'Oreal, perfumes and cosmetics of all sorts, really. And they've now got a newly appointed digital executive who's exploring how games, augmented reality, and social media can help the cosmetics company reach new demographics amid an expected increase in e-commerce sales. Now, I think there's been several sort of posts on this. Yeah, their first idea here was they had some online beauty tutorials and created a way for beauty advisors to apply makeup virtually on prospective customers, mimicking in-store consultations. So imagine, I don't know, a lady wants to try on some makeup. They kind of go into the store and put on samples, and you can't go away with the samples. They simply put them on you in the shop to try them out, so to speak. But with the online services, they're able to do that virtually, where you can go and put your face and maybe body up, onto the website, and then using the tools on the website, you can try on different kinds of makeup and looks and stuff like that. And when you come to a result you like, you then get a write-off and buy the makeup concerned. It's the real-life equivalent, really, of the majority of the female population of Second Life, actually. Except they don't have to write off and pay for the real thing. They just slap on virtual makeup and that's it. But anyway, it's pretty obvious sort of way to go. Oh yeah, they did some research and they found that about half of all gamers are actually women. So they decided that that was enough of a demographic for them to start selling to women, using gaming technology. Let me see. Okay, no, they had a workshop which was discussing internally the opportunities and things. The workshop also addressed the stereotype that most gamers are male. Found out that was not true. Yeah. As part of the deal, female gamers with large following on social media will be applying live makeup on their platforms, hosting product giveaways and participating in events such as live makeup tutorials, etc., according to the company. The only pleasant thing about this, I can tell, is that the operation will not be conducted via a Facebook page. So I'll look into virtual, not look into Zuki. Right, moving on. MotorVR.com is the next site. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you where that was. It's actually WallStreetJournal.com. So WSJ.com. That's actually all you need to get to that. Okay, talking of Steam VR yet again. It wants to. Okay, it's getting fed up with me clicking too many times. Here we are. Oh dear, I think it's lost its cache. Yeah, let me, I think I need to do a reload on this one. Actually, let me just, oh, right, okay, that works. Wonder why it don't work the other way. How mysterious. Okay. Steam VR lets you float desktop windows inside of your VR games. So I guess the idea here is if you're playing on Steam in a headset, you can actually float windows from your desktop inside your VR games. So I guess it's a bit like having being in a virtual world like Second Life or OpenSim, and then you've got a web page on a screen in the world. But this does the same thing in headset VR, but they're floating, so you can move them around kind of where you want them. In fact, I kind of think of it as science space, or rather Breakout, or whatever it's called, has a similar thing where you kind of what we would call res the screen in world, but then you can manually just drag it about to wherever you want it on the screen. As you want. Anyway, just a catch up there, telling you about it. There is a video too there showing the whole thing in action. It's very weird watching something like this. Let me pause that. You've got a headset environment which is 3-dimensional, and then you've got this page there that's a floating object in 3 dimensions, but the components in the page are separate elements too. You've obviously got a video playing, but you've also got it's a totally interactive web page, and it's just floating around. Anyway, good job I haven't got the helmet, I might get distracted. Right, this post is at roadtovr.com, ROADTOVR.com. Moving on, back to Forbes, actually. This is not trying to think, or Kathy. It's Frederick Daso, whoever he be. But this is follow-up. I think maybe I've got another link coming up to this, although I have to be quick because there's not many left. This is a platform called Scout. They've raised 1.2 million, and they've got a growing wait list of over 150,000 people who are hyped about the you-know-what. And social media has fundamentally shaped the way we communicate via user-generated content. Despite all the content we create and share with one another, millennials and Gen Zs, fucking terminology, I feel more disconnected than ever. Zach Haggart noticed both the proliferation of content in the digital world and the lack of connection many feel in the physical world. So he started Scout, a startup focused on connecting people through content via its platform. They've already raised a lot of money, as I said, and it's got 150,000 users on its wait list. We're desperate to try it out. This is not a fun. This is not a fundraising thing. It's there and it's coming. And it's got the waiting list. So this basically is an interview with Zach Haggart, who's the person behind the platform. And okay. Okay. It's not easy to actually paraphrase what he's actually said here, because he says that he believes modern content is a powerful way to bring people together. So I'm not sure how he defines modern content, because in the previous paragraph he goes on about Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and posts every minute, and people online, overabundance of information. People are feeling more lonely than ever, especially 61% of young adults. So his idea is to actually overcome that. He raises some interesting points, and it's not exactly. I found this interesting. I think I actually signed the thing saying I want to be on the waiting list to try it out. Okay. To define the metaverse. I told them I'm not going to paraphrase it. It's quite a long article, but you'll find it at Forbes.com, same place you find Charlie and Caffe's thing. So FORBES.com. And to get a direct link, just find the article here on my Twitter, twitter.com/Mal Burns. Now, another interesting site actually we go there now and again called The Conversation. Yes, that's what it's all about. And guess what? I saw two posts with this exact title, and I thought somebody had actually written a syndicated article and accidentally come up with the wrong title for it, because the first post I found with more or less exactly the same title was like almost a press release on Zuckerberg. This one is actually a different take, although obviously the focal personage is much the same. But I quite like, what's a metaverse? And they say it's a high-tech plan to Facebookify the world. I think other people would say Zuckify, or but anyway, cynical as all the other points. What is a metaverse? Well, it sounds like the kind of thing billionaires talk about to earn headlines, like Tesla chief Elon Musk spruiking pizza joints on Mars. Yeah, given 3 billion people use Facebook each month, the Zuckerberg's suggestion of a change of direction is actually worth some attention. So they do have a sort of serious look at it. The words like the internet and cyberspace are come to be associated with places we access through screens. They don't quite capture the steady interleaving of the internet with virtualities, such as 3D game worlds or virtual cities. So the old names don't capture new social relationships, sensory experience, and economic behaviors that are emerging along with these extensions to the virtual. More thoughts really. All I can do is provide you with the links to long drawn out articles with people with different thoughts. But I did read at the time all these ones that I posted. So they're not that long. They just look long. It's always good to get. I like at any rate, especially something that's getting controversial like this. If I come across a sensible discussion that is a reaction to the hype, then that's, the variety of that discussion is probably where the truth is to be found, rather than sort of saying, come here and read the same article praising the Gone Emperor. So this is theconversation.com, TheConversation.com. Yes, I've not quite you there. And 2 more pieces to go. We're getting there. Right. You see, that was James. Obviously grateful for the fact I'm nearly at the end. Okay, he says. Good news. Right, Tales from 2050 are looking to a world built on NFTs. 3 decades from now, blockchain technology and non-fungible tokens will not be magnificent, but they will be normal and mundane. Right, another take. Now, I've even now I'm not, I know about all these non-fungible trinkets lurking in the background and stuff, and blockchain and stuff. I've never really, for myself, adopted any of this, and I don't know that I ever really will. I mean, I haven't got that many years left to play with it. This is just an interesting sort of look at a possible future. You will own nothing and you will be happy, a sentiment at the core of a declaration issued more than 30 years ago in 2016. Well, remember, this is supposed to be written in 2050. Leaders of the World Economic Forum. But 2016 was still 5 years ago for us now. It sounded dystopian, but something taken from a book by Aldous Huxley or George Orwell. But it was probably among the most insidious ideas I've ever heard. It's hard to look. He's writing as if it's 2050 and he's looking back. He looked back at the early days of a blockchain network his company had and non-fungible tokens. He moans about a single charge on vintage mobile models. And there weren't enough. And the cars, and there weren't enough charging stations. And it's really a moan about 2020 being awful, 2050 being wonderful, except that you question whether the wonderful things are wonderful at all, basically. Again, I'm not going to even attempt to summarize this. It's an interesting article, to say the least, and it's in an odd place, although I know we've had something else in this site. It's called cointelegraph.com, cointelegraph.com. And whether that's a news site dedicated to the days of NFTs and stuff like that, or whether it's a greater site, I don't know. But this is just a editorial look at things. It's not. It's always a novelty piece with a serious message. It's not advocating new coinage or anything in any given way. So my final link is a video again. And I did mention earlier on that at least this one's arrived on time. The weekend is just ending. So you had last weekend's actually come out late on Tuesday, whereas this one more or less came out today. Well, actually, it's dated the 6th, but it only came through today. Maybe they just got a problem with their posting system, but I don't know. Anyway, this is This Week in XR, and it's Charlie Fink, who, from Forbes and stuff like that. And since it's the last one, I'll just have a quick look and find out. David Whelan.
Yes, exactly.
In fact, they start off saying they're not going to be able to match the previous one with the guy from Magic Leap. So they get there. They are.
Subscribe to that location, so it is quite a bit different.
Oh, right. Okay, this was fairly interesting in its own right. This chap they're interviewing, David Whelan. He's the CEO of the platform called Engage, and he's Irish, actually. They're based out of Ireland, and actually it's interesting. He talks about how they do things differently. And, so they've been successful in the enterprise and education, particularly education, in fact. Apparently they just do things their way. But it's quite interesting to hear him talking. I mean, basically, it's he and his wife basically started Engage, and on a shoestring, and they're now really one of the biggest these independent virtual worlds, particularly for education. And I was in there this summer for various events. Can't say I've ever been in there to hang out for the sake of it, but it's a destination world, with events. So you can log in to go to a talk or an event. You don't, you probably could stay there and walk around and hang around, but that's not just really the kind of function. This week in XR over at YouTube. And with that, we have reached the end. Yes, we have.
Oh my.
Oh my, says James.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
has James got any thoughts on today's shenanigans?
The metaverse discussion is really so fascinating, and I was going to ask you, would you have considered yourself a metaverse evangelist, or even short of that, a VR evangelist? You want other people to experience the same thing you have?
Yes, and yes, in general.
Mm-hmm.
I never like the word evangelist because it reminds me of religion.
Right, right.
That's sort of where the term comes. But there's sort of a commentator more than anything else. Certainly, I have been called that. I've certainly mixed with a load of bloggers and things who have also maybe more aptly been called that. Mm-hmm. I can't remember where the expression came up, but I just don't like the word evangelist. It's a oppressive word to me. Anybody who's evangelical, and I'm not talking about religion or anything, there's something about it makes me think of fanatics. So I'm not that bad, and I've got friends in real life who in the past I've tried to introduce to things, beginning with Second Life and Open Sim and things, and many of them just don't see it. They don't get it. They get scared when they realise they're in a public forum with lots of real people they don't know around, or they can't quite make the mental jump between their own persona and being in an avatar. And there's all sorts of reasons. And equally, there's others. I know other people I introduced back in Second Life, and they were in there for a few years. And then actually, I remember one chap. He got himself into a whole load of trouble in there. He had to leave. His wife wasn't at all happy with him. Strange things happen. It's either very compelling. And people realise that and embrace it, or they realise that and reject it. They run scared, or they just don't quite get the message. I actually think that it is more, how should I say, it's more uncomfortable in a way to be exposed on a Zoom call than to be in a room with 100 avatars. Because what you don't get the eye contact, you don't get the real thing. What's missing in a way is an advantage. In fact, back in the Second Life Day, we also maybe this will be what we remember as the golden age of the metaverse, because of what we didn't have. Things came slowly over 2 decades. Second Life, for example, didn't have voice for years and years. It certainly didn't have meshes and elaborate graphics and things. It was basically a Lego set at the beginning. So it's developed the way a greater metaverse should, except that of course it's a walled garden. To me, I think it's all about the destinations. When I promote the metaverse, it depends on who I'm with. But if I'm with an artist, I would sort of try to summarize, the ability to create in 3 dimensions in a 3-dimensional space, and how that differs for what you might put on the canvas, or even in 3D by, let's say, carving a sculpture. So it's a new medium where you can create art, and of course, as Bettina Tizzy used to say, not possible in real life. Group, you can do things you can't possibly do in real life. For a musician, especially a troubadour or somebody starting out, then maybe it's a good way to test out your music with an audience, to promote yourself in a virtual space with a limited audience before moving on to a greater audience. Or maybe even these days you can get the greater audience in virtual too. And meetings, a pandemic to me should have given me an opportunity to promote a lot of things, but oddly enough, it was too many people jumped in first. It was all Zoom rather than virtual worlds. I mean, in the pandemic, people go online and they hold their book clubs in Zoom. But actually, a far more natural place to hold a book club would be somewhere like Second Life or OpenSim. And if you just want to play and fantasize and escapism and things, Second Life, for example, is an obvious one. Science-based, OpenSim, and the others don't really fulfill that thing of where you're like living in the middle of a town. You've got shops here and everywhere. You can't move for finding more people. In Second Life, it is an everything in microcosm, although there's quiet places you can go to, but it's like the busy one, But it's not practical to, say, hold an educational establishment there. Not only because of the cost of it, but because you can't easily firewall your classroom or your university. You can in OpenSim, and you can on most independent platforms, but not in, say, Second Life. So if I promote what you might call the metaverse, I promote different destinations for different things. And, I was actually thinking about this in the debates. You've reminded me now. And to me, at the end of the day, I think the metaverse to me is my desktop. I don't mean that I'm stuck on my desktop and I won't move to another desktop or put a helmet on or go to my phone or pad. But on the main desktop here that you're not really. Well, I'll tell you what. While we're still on air, but there's no reason for me to keep these particular windows open, to be honest. So I'll give you an idea of what I mean. I don't know if I can fully do it, but we can try. Okay, let's just. I'm going to quit. That video keeps changing position whenever I click on it. Okay, a little background ambience for you there. But no, what I was going to do is going to put that one away. And I'm going to open up. I use basically my browser on this system is it's a customized work environment based on Google's Chrome, and it's called Wavebox. You can get it on the Mac. I don't think it's available on Windows, but I'm gonna load it now. It's the risk of showing you stuff I don't want. And then I'm going to do something we don't normally do on this show, but I'm going to share my entire screen here to give you an idea of. Now, this is very customized for me. The browser I'm using here, in fact, Wavebox, is one of its best features. It allows me to have groups of online apps together here. These are the groups, and today's day I'm going to have to. I hope we're okay for time here. I'm adding a little bit of extra into the end of the show.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to have to move that screen leap window out of the way. Typically, let's see. Now I need to try and get. There we are. Okay. My Windows desktop's still very similar to this, actually, although they don't have this browser. But the quick launch bar and stuff at the top. This is a Mac, but I actually have to go to the edge of the screen here to actually get the normal Finder bar and all this stuff, basically. Right, I'm going to clean up all my memory because I used Safari during the show, and that hogs memory. You think the browser made for the Mac actually hogs all the most memory on the Mac. So that's cleaning up a bit around. Now, what I have here, for example, is my this is all my Twitter accounts side by side, plus my regular home account for the main feed. So this is the feed that I keep sending you to for my latest ones. Sorry, this is the Malbones one. We've got Metaworld News too, and Malbones Writer is another Twitter feed I have, which is strictly for arts and destinations in Second Life. But the way I work is I might go to this category here, and this is my newsreaders. So I will then, for example, load one of my newsreaders, and I'll look for, say, in-world clips. And, you know, I get stuff like this from Second Life. I just scroll past it. I'm not remotely interested in group gifts, avatar fashions, but they kind of come in. Right. Okay, that's more about the Steam Deck there, for example, but not particularly worthy of. Okay, I'm going to move across. I mean, as I say, I've got a newsreader there. Then I've got the old reader. This is one called Inner Reader, and then a very popular one, which is the one I got a pro account for, Feedly, which is the big one of them all. And I will look through various categories. That's Yahoo. Okay, let's say, I mean, this may be of interest to you if you follow me on Twitter. What I do is I load it up here, and then I'm very quick. I can, well, I don't normally use this one for straight Twitter, but if I click on Share on TweetDeck, and don't tell me it's not going to do its thing. Oh, okay, that's I may have to reload that. Basically, it simply allows me to tweet, and I can choose between which of the accounts I want to tweet to, or whatever. Now, in some cases, while that is reloading, just to see if I can just prove it again by show on TweetDeck. Oh, it's funny, I'll move this. Oh, interesting. Okay, it hasn't loaded my. Oh, there we are. Again, I think it's ready now. It actually has a plug-in system. Yeah. So when I'm tweeting, I can choose between any of the 3 users that I have accounts for here. So when I'm ready to tweet that, oops. Okay, well, this is going to the main Twitter account, but it gives me a quick pop-up, and I will tweet like yeah, I'll just tweet that, and as you can see, it immediately comes up in the main Malbones Twitter, just like that. So all this is very quick, but the reason I'm mentioning this, and this particular browser I like, this is a web browser. It's not, but it's very adaptable when it comes to things like worlds on the web. You know, web VR we call it. If something can be loaded into a website, then there's nothing to stop me making a group. I forgot these ready. These are all different web applications I've got in that group. Now, of course, I've got to find out. I've got to find a virtual world to take you to, but you probably get the idea. Most of the stuff I've got loaded here is actually, I'm afraid, workspace type stuff. Okay, let me go to. Okay, I'm going to this side. Right, I'm going to make a new tab, and I'm going to search this answer. And there we are. Okay, so far. Oh, I haven't got Steam on this computer, have I? I'm trying to find an example of a virtual world on the web. Oh, I keep showing off enough of them in my feed, don't I? But let's see. Oh, hubs will be a good one, wouldn't it? That will work. I thought I had this already. Hubs, that'd be the sort of hubs, for example. So let's say I'm going to an event online in something like hubs here. Oh God, I can't remember what I used. Okay, well, let me just create a room. Let's get some easy word. A minute ago, wasn't it? I can't remember what my hubs account is. I'm sure it was. Gmail. Oh, I see. Well, this is actually quite easy. And actually, one of the in my top group here, I've got a content management system called Closed, and this actually this shows me all my incoming Twitters in a slightly different format, but it also allows me to get to my inbox quickly. And here we are. There's some hubs. Below. There it goes. Okay. Oh, verifying email. There we are. Don't know what verification. Right. Close this and return to hubs. There we are. And there we are. I'm signed in. Right. So what do I normally do? Oh, noisy. Oh, I should do this before I'm actually live, shouldn't I? Really? The idea is I'm going to make a hubs room here, using my account now, and there we are. Create room. So I'll create a room, just using a template or something. And hubs, you tend to make rooms for particular purposes, or you go to rooms that you get links for. So it's not like a Second Life thing where you set up an account and avatar and have a permanent location. So I believe, right. I'll just go to join room now and accept. That will do. Yes, you can have microphone. Yeah, allow. Okay, so if you've never seen hubs, I'm sure we've actually been here on the show before. In fact, tap to talk. Yeah, there we are. Oh, seems to be happy with that. Oh, hang on. Okay, I'm. Okay, I'm just going to have to go to the next step. Pardon me. Okay, I'm using my microphone. I don't want it to interfere with the broadcast, basically. Okay, so this is hubs, and this, for example, is a virtual world here where I can go in and I can send you and arrange to meet you, and I can jump to other rooms created with hubs. But this is actually, of course, being web. This is actually on the tab, right? So what I can do now is I can add. I can now add the tab to a new group. And no. Oops. God. I get feedback from the world thing too. Okay, I'm just going to copy that, right? And in my main thing here, right, I'm just going to go to one that's fairly empty. I'm going to go to this group, which is for the streaming stuff. And I'm going to create a new app, and I'll do it by adding a website. And I will then paste the link into there, give it a color, and yeah, that would do. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'll keep the same group, right? Okay, and I'll click next. And because I've already got it open in the browser side, it would probably know to log in. Also ending sessions, you started another session, fair enough. So in this group here, right, let's assume I'm sort of working away during the day or whatever, and I've got my Twitter feeds coming in and everything. But instead of going to a news feed, I decided, I want to go to an event, right? And so I'm going to have to go through that thing again, but never mind. Yeah. So I can enter apps again. And the nice thing about this is that I've got a group here, which is that's the group. This is all the web apps that are in it. Now, at the moment, the only one I've got, which is a virtual world here at the moment that we're looking at now, is hubs. But equally, there are a whole load of other apps that work on the web too. I did have one here for Breakroom, which is the web version of ScienceBase. But I should have misplaced it. But for example, I can collect them up here. Now, getting back to my idea of why is my desktop, my browser, as it were, the portal to the metaverse? Well, I can have all the worlds that I'm a member of or want to go to scattered along here, the individual apps in I'm pointing in a row here, all in one group that can be called worlds or spaces. And I can switch between them just by the one I'm switching to is clearly not called right. Which is that one? Oh, right. Oh, I see. That is hubs. Okay, well, I could have any selection of worlds there. So I could have another hubs instance there or whatever. And by the way, it's more than easy enough to span that out to become full screen if I'm settling in for the long haul, so to speak. Now, the only thing I can do with standalone clients at the moment, and I really need to be I launched most of them from the Windows machine, which is where I'm in Sansar at the moment, is to have the quick launch buttons up here. Oh, I have one for hubs all along. Never mind. But let's say Sansar or Second Life or stuff, I would keep the icons in a tiny little place up here. Most of the virtual worlds would normally be grouped together. And then I can launch the standalone clients. Now, one thing that was always quite good but limited about Second Life was they have a system called SLUs. And this it stands for Second Life Uniform Resource Locator. What it would do is if you clicked on, if I had a Twitter and somebody says, come join the party now, for example, I would be able to click on the party link, and then that would take me across to a SLU page. And I click on the SLU, and so long as Second Life's running in the background already, it then teleports me to that location. There's a very quick way of getting to an event that somebody might have tweeted, because when they tweet it, they don't tweet secondlife.com, they tweet the actual location in Second Life where they're holding the party. Unfortunately, that never worked for OpenSim. It did work, not so for. Well, it's not online now, of course, but we had in Sciencebase, a lot of break room. We had that conversation with Adam, Frisbee, and Clear Rosedale a few weeks back. And when that was posted, it was posted like a tweet, and it had a link that took me straight to break room, loaded the site, and took me right to the exact location. So they've done it too. It's not so slow because it's not Second Life, but they've got a, I think it reads breakroom.io and then slash and the name of the room or something. And because it's on the web, like Hubs is here, it just loads it immediately. So if that system works, and if a future metaverse was based on having addresses and some kind of browser kind of form for addresses, then I could use a system like this to keep all my places. Like I keep pages or portals at the moment. I keep newsreaders in a group. So I could keep places, virtual spaces in a group too. Or if I got enough of them, I could split them into worky spaces and play spaces or concert spaces, for example. It only really gets complicated. You see, we don't have any interoperability, but we do with the web. You do at least have. It's like having lots of tabs with lots of virtual worlds open on them. The other thing I like about this is it has automatic meeting turned on. So if I was in the virtual world in Hubs here and another one there, when I change to the other one, it would mute all the sounds and stuff on this one in order to prioritize the one I'm moving to. So I wouldn't get like two soundtracks playing at once, which can be a problem if you load them into ordinary web tabs. You see, you get stuff coming from one tab and another tab, and where's that sound coming from? Oh, it's another tab over there somewhere. I've forgotten was open. Yeah. So I thought I had more ready to demonstrate, actually. I thought one of these categories actually had more examples of worlds in, but I think maybe... Sakoko is actually another world of sorts, kind of thing today. There's it's a texture one, really. Yeah. No, these are all just my... see, I've got all my image library links, like Instagram, Pinterest, Flickr, and all those grouped together in one group. So this is just organisation on my part. But I'm a bit annoyed. I thought I had more virtual worlds built in here already to show you, but clearly I've moved them at some point.
Well, Mal, I think I'll cede my time to let us end the show. Yes,
I think so too. As you can see, I'm trying to demonstrate something. But think of it this way. I mean, I'm on a desktop at the moment, and I like to think that the entrance, the portal to the metaverse is in front of me. And maybe it's quirky to me, but that means having all this stuff available at the tip of my fingers rather than have to search through long menus. Everything I need is an icon somewhere. It's either on the desktop at the very top there, or it's in the browser, mostly in this side. And, just jump in and out as needed, basically. What I would like to see is something, if there's more interoperability, let's say just between Second Life and OpenSim, which is unlikely to happen. They share a viewer, So maybe I could have OpenSim open there and I could jump into Second Life, or Second Life and then jump into OpenSim. That would never happen because one's a walled garden and one's an open source thing. But I could jump from one location in Hubs here to another, for example, and have everything that I need, just available at the touch of a button. Now, ideally, if I was into the headset thing, VR, I could simply at any point switch to my headset, and maybe it's one side or the other, or the whole desktop can then move into the headset, and then I can operate it from there. Or if it's minor things like a chat room virtual world, then I could maybe operate it from something simple like the iPhone. So, I think it's a mix and match sort of thing in the end. I can't see we'll ever have one screen on our screens, be it in a headset or a desktop, that's called the Metaverse. There won't be that one big entrance to a Metaverse. The entrances will be scattered all over the place, maybe on the web, maybe on the internet, whatever. The important thing is there's connectivity, and you can build that up from small elements. Anyway, time to log me off, is it not? I'm not going to ask James if he's got any other comments, because he's going to say, close up, last in desktop down. Is he not? So I will say it is goodbye from him.
Oh, let me switch camera angles. And it's goodbye from him.
So it's goodbye from the two of us. Have a very good week, everybody. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Stay safe. Stay at home if you can. Enjoy the virtual world if you can, especially if you can stay at home. And just look after yourselves and have a good week, everybody. Bye for now. Whistle. And the audience too. Wonderful. Woo, whistling indeed.